Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Matthews. I am so glad to have everyone here, and particularly my friend Candice Richardson Dickens. She so graciously made time in her schedule to be with us today. Again, my name is Jennifer Matthews. I'm the owner of Creating Financial Literacy LLC, and I also operate Matthews on Money. I am a financial freedom strategist, and what I do is I help people stop living paycheck to paycheck, get out of debt, raise their credit scores, and increase their savings all at the same time through a better understanding of money. And in my business, money stands for mindset, observation, knowledge, execution, and yearning. Candice is a really good friend of mine. We've been friends so long, I can't remember how long. We met at a book club. Well, a book club that was supposed to be forming that never did form, but we became friends anyway. And we just been like hanging out ever since. And I always tease, I'm like, Candice, can we end our friendship so that I can become your client? That's why she's laughing, because she knows I say that all the time. So just in case you didn't get my newsletter, because I woke up this morning, there was a text from Candice like, hey, I can see you like at 10 o'clock this morning or at 2 o'clock. I'm like, no, 2 o'clock, because I got to give people notice that she's coming, because I've been telling people I'm trying to get on her schedule. I'm trying to get on her schedule, but Candice is in demand. Okay, she's in demand. As I said in the newsletter that I quickly put out this morning, she has a full book of clients. She's open occasionally on Sunday. Like literally, y'all, we coming on a few minutes late because occasionally she's open on Sundays, and this was her Sunday opening, and her last client ran late. It's like 10 after 2, and her client is still here, but that's the heart that she has. She takes time from her weekends of her own family, busy mom, wife. She got 3 children, and she takes time to see her clients on Sunday. She is a trainer and a mentor of other clinicians. She is a nationally known speaker in her industry, and she is a business owner. I mean, she is like the bomb.com, and she has time to help all of you who are affected by the shutdown. And so there's over 820,000 of you who are directly impacted. And I estimated at over 1 million, because I'm here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, where we have, all the people who are directly affected, plus we have contractors who are not getting paid, and then we have all of the businesses as well. Then we have, I know Utah is hard hit, places around military bases are hard hit, so there are a lot of places that are hard hit. But I asked Candice, and I'm going to let Candice introduce herself. I know I just gave her an intro, but I am going to let her talk directly to you. She's not on social media, partly because of what she does. So blue light up top would be your camera. Okay, so that's your camera. Okay, awesome. Versus looking down on the screen, that's your camera up top. I'm going to let her talk directly to you. I have my phone, so I'm looking down because I have my phone in my hand, and I'm going to see if there's any questions or anything that comes up between this comments on this page as well as on my Facebook page. But I was reading in there's a private Facebook group for people who are affected, who are currently furloughed, and I was invited to join the group because I created a 17-page resource guide last week. I published 10 additional pages of resources yesterday. And in the group today, people were saying that like their children have started businesses and are making money to help with the family, and they're concerned about their children as well. So you being the awesome clinician that I know you are, please talk to the folks. That's why I brought you on. And this video will be posted on YouTube. I will make it available so that you can share it with others. But Candice, please, I'm going to let you slide over into the center and talk to folks with the tips and the resources.
It's
so introduce yourself and knock yourself out.
I'm Candice Dickens, Candice Richardson Dickens. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor and a licensed clinical alcohol drug counselor, and a certified hypnotherapist and EMDR specialist. I'm also the wife of a furloughed employee or contractor. So I do get that people are very anxious because I do know that it changes the dynamics of what you're used to. People join the government to work because it's stable. You know the risk, but you minimize the risk because the benefits are so good. The health insurance is good, the contract is good, the salary is pretty decent, and it's usually centrally located about, we're not far from where people live at. This experience comes to bring families together. It can do something for you that you haven't quite done with your family, which is making them aware of what's important. I think you mentioned that children are actually trying to help parents. It really highlights the attachment they have to the families.
Yes.
Like when things get difficult, we want parents to realize that their children want to help. Their children feel empowered. And it's not that the parents are disempowered. The children for the first time feel empowered to contribute something of value. And that thing of value might be working, doing chores, helping out in a way to relieve stress for the parents. Parents sometimes feel guilty because we want our children to stay children as long as they can. It doesn't mean they're not being children. It's just that they're having the reality that life is different. It's not fair. They're having the reality that they matter and they can make a contribution to the household. So don't discourage the kids from helping, but recognizing their job is to help if they can, but not rescue you, right? Because we don't want the children to feel like they have to rescue or take care of parents, but we do want them having a sense of awareness of empowerment, that what they do matters. Even little people say, I want to have a lemonade stand. Okay, but your job is not to pay the BG&E or the gas, but what it does gives them an opportunity to feel like their contribution makes a difference. And that enhances self-esteem and self-concept. Kids only get scared when we're scared. So if you're industrious and creative and you see there's an opportunity for the family to pull together or being resourceful, then children will follow that lead. They'll see it as a collective experience, not as a horrible experience, right? It's just a change in their reality, but not an ending of their reality, right? And that's what that mindset shift you talked about. Is that it's not an ending, it's a changing, right? It's an opportunity to see how good can we tolerate being uncomfortable and being resourceful and creative about how to deal with uncomfortability, right? Because at one point this will end. It always ends, right? Everything ends at some point. And kids have to be aware, including the adults who are going through the furlough, to be that this will have an ending. But how good do I manage myself during the ending? You had no control over how this thing was handled by the government, but you have control and the power to manage how you deal with it. If you're not sleeping, and you're taking long showers, taking baths. If you're worrying excessively, you can manage the stress by journaling, talking to other people, doing positive things, such as giving yourself massages, or working on things that you can have a difference in terms of helping your kids with homework. If you're a single person with no children, you can make a difference. How good can you manage the anxiety? Suggest giving massages. Right? Because the thing about the government situation is that people are feeling powerless because you don't have an idea of when things are going to end. But you do know something about you, is that you were able to get this position. So you have the power of getting this position. You were able to be the one to secure the home that you have in. You do have the ability to try to negotiate things to your benefit. If you're having people who are not willing to negotiate with you, you have the ability to have a choice. Because one thing my mother always says is that people will show you who they are, not during the good times, but when things aren't so great. And when you have that choice, you can make the choice to do things that honor you, right? Because sometimes the relationships we create with our landlords, our mortgage companies, really teaches us that we made a choice to be with people who aren't as compassionate or as patient or empathetic. And then when things get better, we can make a different choice. So that if this comes around again, you can manage yourself and know that you're connected with people who really have your back, who are supportive of you. With your children, same thing. They are trying to be supportive of you because this memory will help them remember when they become adults that when they get to a down place, they're not alone. They don't have to struggle alone because this will be we call it a centennial memory. And that what it does, it sets the landmark or the precedent of how they will be as adults. They don't have to be proud or stuck. They can be creative and ambitious. Computers came around because people were creative and ambitious and they realized it could be a better way. So use this as an opportunity for growth and development, as well as an opportunity to do really good self-care. Look at things you have control over and minimize the things that you don't have control over.
So when you say self-care, what are some examples of self-care?
Self-care would be looking at, if I'm anxious, doing self-care, looking at pressure points, massaging face, doing self-care, moving into looking at the pressure points here, doing self-care. If I'm anxious, giving myself permission to do really good hand work. Here's my hand. Self-care is tapping on the tips and saying things like, even though I'm anxious, I will still choose to believe that at the end I'll be okay. Even though this is like a great movie where I don't know how it's going to end, I will still choose to be the hero and be on my feet at the end of this movie. This is just a situation. It is not a lifetime. Even though it feels like a lifetime, it is not a lifetime, right? So this is a tapping technique that you can do in the privacy of your home. And there are some people who I'll say at Burger King who I'll watch them tap. These are pressure points where people tap. And what they'll do is they'll add a stem to it, such as, even though I'm feeling out of control, I will still choose to believe I am still in control. The government may be out of control, but I, the person, am still in control. Even though I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent next month, I will still choose to believe that if I give myself time, I will figure it out, right? I can do tapping, I can do massaging, I can do journaling where I can write, I can do coloring if I have color books, I can take a deep breath, right? I can give myself permission to think of the most relaxing place that I've ever been to that's peaceful, and I can close my eyes and just for 1 second be at that place, right? Because wherever your mind goes, your body goes. And sometimes we need to have vacations that we can't afford to pay for now. So we'll say, wow, this is when that Jamaica vacation took last year comes into play now. Because if you close your eyes for 1 second and you're still enough, you can think of Jamaica. And here's the trick. Your body doesn't know you're not there. It goes where your mind is going. It's similar to watching a movie. If I'm watching a movie where the character Blade is fighting, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm moving. My mind does not know I'm not in the scene. I'm not in the scene, and if this is a movie. Your mind will go wherever you're at. If you're a prosperity person, and I say, wow, what a great struggle. At the end of this, I've got a great abundance of pot of gold coming. Wherever you put your mind, wherever you put your faith or your belief, your mind will follow and your body will say, I agree, right? It is an opportunity to practice self-care, whether it's you practicing your faith, reading books, taking walks, but managing you better because the situation requires better management of you. Because you can't change the situation. The situation we're powerless over. But we have power over is, where do I let my mind go? So if I find myself working for an hour, you can stop that. You might be able not to stop the government, but I can stop that by creating positive distractions by cooking, cleaning, journaling, praying, watching something on TV that's funny, reading a book, connect with myself to spiritual practices, going to the library. I can remove myself and just take a break from the worry and say, you know what? I've done this for an hour. I'm going to give myself an opportunity to do something else for the next hour. And then the next hour, I'll be back to worrying. But I might even make that hour be a little bit different. Where I worry, instead of an hour, I do 20 minutes. I cheat on the worrying, right? Instead, I give myself an opportunity to have more relationship with peace and balance or joy or something else other than worry.
Positive distractions and cheat on worry.
Cheat on the worry, right?
I love it. Positive distractions and cheating on the worry.
This is when you get an opportunity to be a cheater. Right, because the worry will hold you hostage. The worrying is selfish. It just wants all of you. It doesn't want to share you with anyone, right? It's like jealousy. It wants all of you. And it will talk you into a situation where all you have is your worry and your fear, and your family won't get any of you. But you're just so consumed by the worry that it's like a lover that won't let you out, won't let you use your cell phone. And you've got to make a decision. I deserve more than this because it's controlling me, right? What the government did was that they shut down the government. But what I did is I may have shut myself down. So give yourself permission not to shut yourself down. Open yourself back up to the possibilities. This is just a moment. How good can you take care of you, right? Because the worry is never about what's happening now. It's about what can happen later. But we'll say, take good care of you. Do the things that help you. If you're running out of food, go to soup kitchens. If you're running out of food, go to food pantries. Go to food banks. Even churches have it. If you're worried about gas and electric, I know that there are a couple corporations, and I think you have an amazing list. If I'm worried about that, then I empower myself by using a list like what Jennifer has to give me options. Your worry doesn't want you to have options. It wants you all to itself. Yes. Just like fear wants you all to itself. Doesn't want to have options. So if I look like if I think about, I can only think about this. If I think about like an R. Kelly situation, he wants all those girls to himself. He doesn't want them to go outside. He wants them all to himself. That's how worry is. It will talk you into a situation that doesn't honor you. But to honor you would think, what's good for me? What do I deserve? If I think about this 100 times, is that what I deserve? No, because everything you think creates a feeling, and every feeling shows up in your body and makes you tense. Which is why taking showers is great, because when you're in the shower, you're not thinking. So you can be the cleanest people you want to be during this period. Take 20 showers. It doesn't hurt you, right? But what it does is that when we're in water, it calms us down. So I'll say to people, just run the water. Oh, that's my water bill. Okay, then take a bath. Or have a bowl of water and put your hands in it like you were kids again, right? Connect back to nature. If you're a gardening person, go outside. There are no flowers. Go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, go to some places that allow you to connect back to that part of you that has balance and peace, right?
And Candice mentioned the guide, and I mentioned the guide too. So I put together what started out as a 17-page resource guide and added 10 pages, and it's available online, www.shutdown.gr8.com. You'll see a link for it on this Facebook page as well as my own Facebook page. And it's free. And one of those resources is 211, the United Way, 211. Awesome. You can dial 211, or you can go to, they have a website. I don't know if it's unitedway.org or 211 has its own website, but by zip code, they're connecting you with resources. So that's one of the national resources that I added to the 10 pages that I published yesterday. So there are national resources out there. So they're out there.
They're out there. Can I just say one thing? I know that University of Maryland was offering people free tickets if they came and show their ID card. I know that the Harlem Globetrotters were coming to town with free tickets to take 2 tickets for anyone who is interested. And there are a lot of people who say, I don't want to go, I'm depressed. Okay, depression and worry are like jealous lovers. If they lock you in a room, you'll never get out, right? And they'll paralyze you. And then all you'll be able to focus on is what you're afraid of what's going to happen next. But here's the dangerous thing. We can't predict the future. So all you can do is improve the moment. So going to a game gives you an opportunity to come out the room with the fear that's paralyzing you and holding on to you. And it gives you an opportunity to tap into something that gives you enjoyment and makes you smile, right? Because we want you to be able to create care plans and opportunities where you're doing something different, right?
Yes. And Candice and I are both based in the DMV, but the guide has resources, a lot of DMV resources, because that's where we're based, and there are so many government workers and contractors here. But in the guide, I tried to branch out and come up with resources outside the DMV. And like I said, Utah is hard hit, but West Virginia has a lot of resources because there's a lot of government employees in West Virginia. Right. But there are links in the what did I call it? Volume 2. I called it Volume 2. Yeah. And I start with, I had no plans to write one resource guide, let alone write a second resource guide. I called it Volume 2. There are some national links, some state links in Volume 2. In Volume 2, I start to talk about setting up your repayment plans, lender resources, all kinds of things. Yeah. But like Candice is saying, it's an opportunity to be proactive. Don't let fear grip you. Don't let depression grip you. That's why I brought Candice on.
Yeah. Or shame.
Absolutely. Right. There is no shame in this. You had no control over this.
And that's what pops up for a lot of people, because shame it's the emotion that no one's born with shame. You got to teach shame. Shame is the emotion that you learn when you judge yourself negatively, or when someone judges you negatively. So shame is taught like this: you're a bad girl. It's your fault you're unemployed. You're a bad girl. You got bad grades. When you shame someone, shame always demands a punishment. And there are a lot of people who say, I'm ashamed because I should have known. No, you didn't know this was going to happen, because it's just not a norm for you. It's happened in the past, but it's very infrequent, and it never lasts this long. It is not your fault. And if your children are offering help, you're not harming them, because shame is connected to its best friends, guilt and blame. Because once I feel shamed, it's who am I harming, right? Who to blame for me to harm them? Or I'm the blame because I'm harming my family. And because I'm the blame because I'm harming my family, it's all my fault. And I punish myself. And part of the isolation experience is a punishment experience because you pull yourself away to punish you for doing something that was out of your control. So we'll say there's no shame in this experience, no judgment. It's just an awareness that you are not alone. This was not your fault. This was something that doesn't harm your children. It teaches your children. It becomes a teachable moment. Because every difficult situation from Katrina to the fires really brings people together. And that's where the strength and the power is at. When in my field, we have people who are in recovery or who have depression. So we'll say, hey, go to DRADA, NAMI, AANA, because we realize the power is not in the shaming of you, but in the helping of you. And help happens when you have someone like Jennifer who comes and gives you a resource and it connects you with other people who can help. And that's where the healing is at, right? The pain is in the shame and disconnection, and when we stay in one emotion way too long, so that it stops us from living.
So what about people who have emotional, I'll call it emotional outbursts because I don't know the right language. So like someone I was reading, they posted and one of the things about this group is it's a safe space, and she posted that she would just burst into tears.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sadness.
what are some resources or things
Yeah.
for people who are having these emotional outbursts or emotional breakdowns? What are some resources for them?
They can use this time to go to a counselor. They can contact Department of Health offers free counseling in their state. Every state has a pro bono association, so it's pro bono counseling and put your state in, and they offer free or reduced counseling services for you and your family. If you're in a state that has gambling and you have someone who's a gambler in your family, you get unlimited sessions for free counseling, even if it's not about gambling. But as long as you have a gambler in your family, you can get free sessions in your state. One of the things to recognize is that the emotion is normal, very normal. What you're feeling is not pathological. You're depressed because of the fact there's a loss that's here. There's a loss of a contract, stability. There's a loss of trust. There's a loss of being able to do the things that you normally could do. So the feeling is appropriate. The feeling of being anxious is appropriate. The fear may not be appropriate because fear is a story based on death, and death may not be here. What might be here are delays, delaying you be able to do this. But death is a permanent loss. So if anyone who's lost someone in their family or a close friend, they know death is permanent. This situation is not death. It's a huge disappointment. And disappointment is I expect something that's not here, that's normally here, or a promise was made to me and they broke their promise, but it's not death, right? It's just a change that's causing sadness. But disappointment is a lot smaller than a death. So whatever you're feeling is normal. You've got to figure out, am I letting the feeling of sadness morph into anger? Because some people who feel sad also feel victimized. And that's what the anger is about, feeling victimized and betrayed, and they're angry. And we'll say, well, how do you normally deal with anger? How do you normally deal with disappointment? Do you talk about it? Do you journal about it? Or do you let it take over you and you act out? Do you act out the emotion and don't feel out the emotion? Because acting out is cursing people out, being short, slamming doors. You're acting it out. Why don't you feel it and let it come down like a balloon, right? Because whatever comes up has to come down. You don't have to push it, and you don't have to let it control you. This could be like, instead of the government controlling me and my emotions controlling me, I'm going to control me. I'm going to feel it without being destructive. I'm going to feel it without hurting people's feelings. But I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to journal about it. And I might even cry, and that's okay. But I'm going to make a promise to not dishonor myself the way the government right now is dishonoring me. I'm not going to do it just because I can do it. I'm not going to be mean to my family just because I can. Because sometimes we do it because they feel powerless. And they'll say, I'm going to be powerful with my family. But you're going to put holes in them. And when this is over, those holes will remain, and you'll go back to work, but you won't have the same relationships. So honor the fact you're sad or you're angry, but really be mindful of how it gets played out and gets expressed. And if you need help with someone, help expressing it or learning healthier ways to deal with it, then get some professional help.
Can you repeat the information for where to get free and pro bono assistance and
every
support?
state has Department of Mental Health and Hygiene, so they can call Department of Mental Health and Hygiene, or they can call their local health department and ask for the free counseling there. or they can Google pro bono counseling and then put their state and it'll pop up.
Okay. And then I appreciate that. And then something that popped into my mind when you were just speaking just now, there are a lot of men who are not getting a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Men, traditionally and historically, don't seek out counseling and support services.
Mm-hmm.
They're proud,
Okay.
and now they're not able to support their families. What message do you have for men in particular
Mm-hmm.
who are impacted by the furlough?
That your value has not changed. Your value has not changed. Your gender role as provider and protector has not changed. It's just a temporary pause in how that the provider part is being carried out in your household. You are still the provider of your family. Just like if you have a mother who's 90 and you're 70, you are still her child. That does not change because you have children and you may even have grandkids and you're 70, right? Your role has not changed and your value has not changed. You are still loved, honored, and respected. Just because you're not the primary one bringing the income does not mean that people do not see you that way permanently. That does not change. It only changes if you want it to change. What's happening is that your family is getting an opportunity to show you that they can support you because you've been supporting them. You're not a disappointment. This is not a shame moment, that your value has not changed. Because remember what I said, shame is about the lack of value or about shoulds and ought tos. And your role as a provider is not just bringing the money in, it's letting people know that it's okay for them to be concerned, but everything will work out. You just don't know how. It's like a movie. I don't know how the movie's going to end, but I do know it's going to end because it has to be a part two, right? It's like, I don't know how Black Panther Part 2 is going to happen because I did see the Avengers movie, but I do know it's going to work out, and I know the main character is going to show up somehow, right? This is like a movie. We don't know how it's going to work out, but I do know at the end of it, your family will still be there for you. You'll still be the provider, regardless of what happens next. That doesn't have to change, right? This is an opportunity for people to give back to you. If you've always been the giver or the provider, it's a great opportunity for people to give back to you in such a different way that reinforces that they got you too, right? Like Jesus said, it's great for the one who gives, but it's nice to be the one who can serve sometimes. Give yourself an opportunity and see what it's like to be the one who gets served, who gets helped. Because you might not get this again. So eat it up. Because that's something people complain about. They're the providers and no one helps them. And then when they get the help, they don't like it. Don't push it away without seeing what the other role is like. It might feel really good and it doesn't mean you're less than. Not at all.
And you know me, so you know that's something I struggle with.
Yes.
So she was speaking to me at that moment because I'm always helping other people,
Mm-hmm.
and I struggle to receive help. And my friends are always getting on me about that because they're like, you always give and you never let us feel the joy of giving to you.
Mm-hmm.
So men and women who are watching this,
yes.
It is an opportunity, and I'm speaking to myself right now as well as speaking to you. It is an opportunity for others
Mm-hmm.
to feel the joy that you feel when you give.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity for others to have that feeling that you have right now. They
It
can
sure is.
feel that joy and happiness
Mm-hmm.
and fulfillment that you felt in the past when you were always giving.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have that
They get a
opportunity
turn.
to feel that way giving to you.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to you
Mm-hmm.
as I'm speaking it and hearing it.
Woo!
To me.
Yes! Amen!
She's cheering at my breakthrough to me.
Yes.
Because she knows
Yes.
it's something that
Yes.
I struggle with.
Yeah.
Because I'm always the one
Yes.
who's giving.
So
I'm
it is
always
nice that you are now on the other side, because this is the thing. When you've got amazing people who are powerful people who are givers, they're used to control going this way, right? So they won't accept the help because in their mind, the way control and their whole relationship with people is, I'm the helper, I'm the giver. And they don't realize that by having that relationship, you never let this person come up. Right? So then they have a relationship where they're always below you, always taking from you, and they never get an opportunity to rise up and give it. And the moment they do, you feel not enough. You make it be about you and not make it be about, wow, this person's strong enough that they can give back. It validates that they're in a different position It validates that they're enough. Even with the kids. You want to do lemonade set? Go ahead, baby girl, because I have raised you to be a queen or a king and a resourcer and an entrepreneur, and I'm so proud of you. Right? That's huge. But when we don't, and we want it to stay this way, it really becomes a very disproportionate, unbalanced relationship that never gets an opportunity to grow. It gets stuck, right? And this is an opportunity for everyone who's a provider, who's used to not asking for help, an opportunity to grow and give other people an opportunity to grow with you. And if there's no one that's willing to help, you've got to figure out, how did I create a life where there's no one helping me? What's familiar about this pattern where there's no one helping me? Because sometimes we create a life with a lot of needy people connected to us, and we forget to change the script. That as we get older, we can choose different.
And that is one thing that I'm really seeing. If there is one silver lining in this, is so many people have come out the woodworks to give, and so many people are receiving the gift, and they're seeing the giving. We are opening the door for what I am praying is a new level and a new generation of philanthropy. And when I say philanthropy, I'm not talking like, like a Oprah, Bill Gates kind of level. I'm talking like the grassroots kind of thing, like in this Facebook private furlough Facebook group where someone opened their front door and there were 2 boxes of groceries and they don't know where it came from. That type of grassroots.
Yes, yes. And that's where the connection's at, right? Because I do a lot of trauma work, and what we'll say is trauma is about the disconnection. Like something happened to you without your permission and it disconnected you from the safest person in your universe, whether that was a parent or a friend, but you were alone and isolated. And what's beautiful that's happening is that for many people, this is traumatic. And we'll say part of the healing work is connect back to other people so that you know that you are not alone, that you have matter. Because when trauma happens, we feel devalued, like we lost something, whether it's sexual trauma or physical abuse. If it's like, this happened to me, I must not be of value. But what I do like is that people giving to other people, it reminds them that they have value, that you matter. I see you, right? And we'll say, if I don't see you, it's because you haven't stood up, so me to see you. So stand up and give people permission to see you and help, right? Because that's where the connection's at. That's where we attach back. That's our power. So it would be great for you to give yourself permission to connect with others, but connect with you. Take care of you, do self-hugs, give yourself permission to go for walks, bathe, journal, take care of you, right? Because there's a lesson in this experience about being connected, and read her resources because that will also help you look for ways to empower you. So because we don't know when this is going to end, but we do know that you have a choice in how you take care of you, right? So if you're hungry, your lights are off, and you've not tapped into here, then this is your pattern of not changing when change happens. Because sometimes we're so focused on being right and doing things linear that we don't realize that it's time to make a curve, a U, right? And come back and do it again, do it differently. How willing are you willing to change and grow? So great.
I want to say thank you. You have any closing words on tips, resources for adults or children, or anything else you can think of?
Just the takeaway, one thing, everything you think is not real. So don't believe everything you think. So if your first thought is, oh, I'm going to lose my house, that may not be real. It's an awareness, right? Some things we think are like reminders about, like my Alexa. My Alexa reminds me to wake up, reminds me to feed the dog, get the dog medication. It reminds me to do something, study, go to bed, wake up. It's a reminder. Some of your thoughts are just reminders. Or just like, hey, don't forget, if you don't do this, if you don't go on Jennifer's list, you might not. It's a reminder. When we have anxiety because we have the situation that's traumatic, we're out of control, you're going to have a lot of reminders going off in your heads, and you're going to have a lot of forecasting going in your heads. And forecasting is, it's going to get worse. I don't know if that's true because I don't know when this is going to end, but I do know that you have the ability to manage how you take care of you and who you reach out to. You have the ability to be proactive and not just reactive to everything you think, right? Is have the awareness, take really good care of yourself, and stay plugged into shows like this, to the resource list, and the people in your community that can help make a difference in your life.
I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
So much.
You're welcome. You're so awesome.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching. Hope you found this of value. And I am trusting, believing, and praying that this shutdown is going to end very, very, very soon. And I'm praying that there is no volume 3 of the resource guide.
Mhm.
And I am praying that Candace doesn't come back and have to do a part 2 of
Yeah.
this Facebook Live.
But if I do, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Or maybe we come back and do something fun.
Maybe something fun, right?
Come back and do something fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's an experience within this experience that everyone's supposed to have. It's
Yes.
not about the shutdown. It's about what's the experience that got created by me that help me grow. What's the experience in here for you? What's the lesson for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had to pray that prayer before. Like, God, what is the lesson in this for me? What is the lesson in this for me? I have had to pray that prayer before.
Yep. What's it come to teach me? What's it come to do for me that I couldn't do for myself?
Yes.
Good job.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you. I hope you found some value in this and use those resources that she gave.
Yes.
This is a recording, so go back and play it over. Those tapping points. Go back and replay that and say those affirmations and things that she gave. Go back and replay this.
Yes.
Share it over and over again. Download the resource guide. You know, subscribe to this page, and you know, when this is all over, we're going to get you back on your feet financially, because that's what I really do. This was a total and complete detour from my business, but this is what God called me to do, and I'm just glad I'm in position to be here and help you guys. So, all right, thank you. Have a great day. Go out maybe tomorrow and do some volunteer work. It's a day off. No, it says a day on, not a day off. It's a volunteer day. So somebody helped you out, so you can go out tomorrow and serve some food to the homeless, or serve to a fellow furloughed person, and put a smile on their face. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was awesome.